Okay, so let's hit record. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll also. Okay. Give you a minute.
Is it the next one still to the right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, in room 2 of our regular hearing room.
Regular.
Jacqueline Lehman? I do. Mhm.
Motion for the previous meeting, which was December 4th. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any extensions on that one? Carries. And then we have some approvals from the council. Motion you have today?
Yes, so that meeting or that agenda was turned into just a staff approvals type of agenda, so that'll be a separate thing.
Okay, so
Yes, please.
Opposed? I just saw one specifically, I mean, talked about, some of the own questions. CDs are taking, I thought we talked about either.
So we sent them the business meeting feedback, and that's number 2. So we can get into that discussion more if you want. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so still on the agenda, so we're not approving that as part of the staff approvals or anything.
One second, hold the second. Six. Seven, please. That's good.
Are we going to vote this month? Yes, those are the ones you just read, and then do we want to have like a motion to vote them into the record? Oh, yes, let's bring that up. So yeah, so we click on the hyperlink to January or December, we can read. It could just be January since we had the December meeting. Yes, let's scroll down to the approvals. There we go.
Oh. Oh, we just read the messages. 26. I'm gonna say my 731 code. Extensions on that one? Okay, so that one's in the books. I'm gonna move to the top. But approval is just like that. So, do I have a second? And all in favor? All opposed? And some people don't have anything on that one. So,
Okay.
okay, new business, to dive into this.
I don't remember, you might have come in after I mentioned this, but I've asked the applicant, since this is a smaller room, to just kind of wait in the common areas and then we'll call them in. So when we're ready for the next application, I'll just go and ask them to come in and
54 East Coast, then I know that. All right. And you found so true to the better than we was happening. Okay, so I'll start with Scott and we'll go to you.
I believe that was actually on the January agenda and we just haven't been able to get to it because of our meeting cancellation. So this is involving the code violation that has been issued for work already completed. Now what's interesting about this is that I think building and zoning have been unable to find records for the enclosed elevator. However, the Italian Village Commission, we do have records from our office that show that this was approved by the commission, back in 2007 before it was constructed. The other changes involve really two parking areas. And then, so the commission had asked about ADA requirements and the applicant had revised the materials and their plans to make sure that this complies with ADA. And they have also recently, I think, submitted to building and zoning, and then building and zoning has given back some minor comments, and the only changes really that they've requested were just minor calling out like signs and things of that nature. And so the applicant had submitted additional photos at the request of the commission from a previous business meeting and an updated site plan. And generally, staff recommends approval of application IV 2201-005-224 East First Avenue as submitted. And if there's any clarifications, that should be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to issuance of the certificate. The basis for that recommendation is that the work is generally consistent with the standards for new construction, the standards for site improvements, and the Italian Village guidelines.
For you, so this is really a matter of saying.
Yeah, so the photos, if you're at the business meeting for the last business meeting, those are the same photos. The most recent plans are at the very bottom. The only changes that we've received since the updated plans were submitted prior to the last business meeting were small, like building and zoning requests for little call outs. So the larger ADA changes that have been made in response to I guess it must have been the January feedback from that business meeting, or the feedback for the January meeting, the applicant has made those changes. So we've seen all of it, and then all of that is reflected at the very, very bottom, or I guess they've just been included again. So it would be, yeah. Oh, you know what? My copy is updated. That's the- Yeah, I think it's. Right, we were able to, I zoomed into the one that's in the shade too, but I think it's just a discoloring of the concrete there in front of the ramp, but it's accessible, so. It was just from that aerial view, it looks like there might have been a curb there that interfered with the, spacing needed by that handicap spot.
Addressed.
I'm sorry.
I think it might have been from me, the comment that building and zoning, some of the changes were to call out signing on the site plan. And so it's just to illustrate that there were minor things that we would normally would staff approve.
Some compliance plan as opposed to physical signage.
Yeah, is that it? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right. That's good.
Thank you.
Have a great meeting.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
We're making it happen.
Maybe I want to sit here and do that. On the console, that's my back to the. Excellent. Okay, set off and then we'll go up to.
For 1086, 1088 North High at the January. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. I was all ready for number 2, but we are already at number 3. All right, 38 to 40 East Prescott Street. So at the December 28th business meeting, the commission had asked if the applicant could clarify the garage door finish, noting that they'd want to see the garage doors blend in visually, being a street-facing suburban feature. They asked if the applicant could clarify how the recessed front doors will be lighted, noted the landscaping appears to be different, and asked if the hardscaping shown is being proposed at this time. The commission asked whether any fencing is proposed, asked for clarification on what the boxed areas shown within the terraces will be. The commission noted that the general architecture changes appear to be okay, and the commission asked how the trash will be addressed. And then additionally, at the January 25th business meeting, the commission asked how street numbers will be addressed since the building has 2 addresses. In response to the business meeting feedback, the applicant has provided the following clarifications: that the proposed finish for the garage door is black to match the other proposed metal colors on the building. However, the applicant notes that if the commission is concerned about that color, that they are okay to discuss alternatives. The applicant is providing can lights within the alcove, and that noted that there's a gooseneck light above the opening, that they will provide light in the courtyard. The applicant notes that they will bring the pool and the hardscape back at a different meeting when the landscaping is fully fleshed out. That the fencing shown in the drawings and detailed on the cover sheet is what is being proposed at this time. And they're happy to discuss more details. The applicant was slightly confused about the comments of the boxed areas, but believe it might have referred to the chimney. And that if what was being preferred is the terrace labeled terrace A, and if so, that was probably the chimney. And then the applicant notes that the trash will be restored within the garage, and that the development will be requesting city service to be provided by 90-gallon containers. So staff recommends approval of the application IV 2201-006 3840 East Prescott Street with any clarifications to be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. And that is with the condition that a separate and complete landscaping application be submitted for future commission review. And the basis for that staff recommendation is that the work is generally consistent with the standards for new construction. That I have not, so I'm going to turn it over to the applicant. $38.40, is it?
Yeah. Right.
The condos in Village, across from Kevin's house. Those garage doors are numbered on the doors. Yeah.
Um,
I think the point.
That's included in the application.
We can make it more specific.
I never saw the permit. Parameters. Given what we just seen from the previous one.
Maybe an updated plan that just removes the landscaping or hardscape for now. Okay, are there any other questions, concerns?
Go to the floor plan of the first floor. It's just, I think you acknowledge the lighting of that, courtyard. There's that like first entrance is the space of the courtyard and then the separate parking, right? So you're saying there's like cans in that,
yeah, recess camps, like the thing that actual outfield, but then with a few stack above that.
and there will be That's our, so we both of this kind of. This is a different. So that's
And then we move to approve, or IB dash 23 dash 01 dash with the, note that the landscaping plan and pool are not approved and will need to come back for approval.
And stuff, we go, okay, what the discussion regarding the numbering.
Yeah, let's just make a note of that or include that in the motion.
Um, Numbering will include the final application from the garage door.
Okay.
Good for double checking.
All in favor? Opposed? I think that I hope it does not go.
That was, both appropriate.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, so we're moving forward to 4.
I can call out the address in case the applicant is out there. If not.
This is what was that? Number 5.
On the also start keeping it. I'm still keeping it. Okay, good. I will send it and then put it over to you.
So this is proposing final details for 680 Civitas Avenue landscaping and hardscaping design for the submitted plans. The general location, sizes, massing, and proportion for the landscaping and hardscaping design were previously approved in July of 2020, and that was under application IV 20-07014. At the January 25th business meeting, the commission asked if there will be fencing or other barriers around the dog park other than landscaping, and additionally asked how exterior trash will be handled. So staff recommends approval of application IV 22-02005 with any clarifications to be submitted to staff prior to review and approval, issuance of a certificate. That recommendation is based on that the work is generally consistent with the standards for site improvements.
Yeah, they are. Perfect. Okay, so over to you again. Anything else? Go through it fast.
Yeah, I think after the business meeting, we were just wondering about the, mechanical units near the dump. Landscaping or any sense of, around that, like it's on the west side that it's opened up. Okay. And I guess from that overall, the real, this parking lot, what is that, you know, to the, maybe that plan? That's a common way to handle the mechanical unit. Having some of that exposed to the parking sidewalk. Yeah.
Different thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was my question.
They don't, it doesn't appear to be a street light, a stop light, or some sort of decorative lighting or. You don't have anybody in the clouds. What are those things? Kind of legal to not have state that. I wonder, this one isn't working for me. And for like that, have more than exception like that.
This plan up and set it in just For the winter snow removal, like making sure that it was kind of trying to get any bigger. Just trying to
Really well identified spaces to work on, and it seems like maybe instead of planted, that could have been. I got the board at the- They don't have the things you thought I could say. They would just call it. So how comfortable are you with our city reviewing this putting people abroad?
I would say, the art, just not, not the art itself, but the general size or placement maybe could come back. Otherwise, lighting is something I think would be fine if, we want to, have that come back just to staff.
although
Yeah, if we want to have art, if that's the direction or whatever the direction that the planter section goes in, just come back for that final point and we can make that a point of clarification or condition as part of the approval.
One slide. I said, we don't know, do that. If I think we can make a motion out of it. I'm good, I'm good, make a motion. Second? Opposed? Thanks for coming in. I guess we'll see some of you back here. Okay. Who's left out there?
Right.
Maybe two, maybe four, or maybe six.
The pattern, only odd numbers here. I don't think they're here.
them all.
Yeah. That is probably why no one knew what that was. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We are on number 6, 199 Summit Street.
Real way. Okay, so the name of it? And you both times tell the truth in testimony to the best ability. Okay, so we'll finish off and read it over.
Okay, so the proposal for this application is to install 10 solar panels on the south and west facing portions of the asphalt shingle roof for the submitted materials. The racking would be bolted to the roof with L-foot attachments. The racking and wiring will be contained underneath the solar panels. Okay, so in the staff analysis, we do have the description of the Columbus's renewable energy goals, as well as the recommendations based on the National Park Service for the preferred locations for solar collectors. And then skipping ahead to the January 5th, 25th business meeting, the commissioners present noted that while the commission does not typically approve solar panels on historic homes, this specific location may be okay due to the proximity of the other homes, the one-way street, and other factors limiting visibility of the solar panels. The commission noted that if approved, those factors will need to be cited in the by the commission to be included in the wording of the approval. So the house at 109 Summit Street has a low sloping hipped and gabled roof with wide eaves, and this is an asphalt shingle roof. Based on the low slope of the roof, the placement of the proposed panels on the southwest rear slopes will be minimally visible from the right of way. The proximity of the neighboring homes will limit visibility, sorry, excuse me, from the front portions of the roof. Although the front primary roof slope where some panels are proposed is visible along Summit Street towards the south. Summit Street is a one-way street, limiting the visibility of the front roof panels from vehicles, but would be visible from pedestrian view. The staff recommends consideration of an independent array or relocation of those panels from that specific area to minimize the visibility from the public right-of-way following the National Park Service guidelines. The staff recommends approval of application IV 2202-006, 1099 Summit Street with any clarifications to be submitted to staff prior to review and approval. And with the condition that the panels proposed for the primary front portion of the roof are relocated with consideration of an independent array to minimize visibility from the public right-of-way. So the basis for the staff recommendation is the Italian Village District guidelines for skylights, which are the closest thing that are in those guidelines that relate to the solar panels on page 39. Noting that skylights or solar panels are not original features on structures in Italian Village, and they are an acceptable addition if they are effectively placed and are not in conflict with the architectural character of the structure or damage historic building materials, that they should be carefully placed to minimize their visibility from the street and preferably only on the secondary or rear elevations. And that they should have a low profile, and that extremely large skylights or solar panels or clusters are not appropriate. Skylights and highly visible roofs or the main front elevations are not appropriate and are not appropriate on slate roofs. And for this, we have an asphalt shingle roof, so that does not pertain. And then finally, the recommendation is also based on the standards for alteration, specifically numbers 2 and number 12.
Okay, no time soon.
The historic nature. And after the summer, even though I've done the renovation as far as insulation and windows and all that. So this would really help me. With electric bill, like I said, I have 3 kids on my own, I look at the library, and think of like money, but it's part of the community, and I would really like to have this addition to my house.
good for the environment, good for my kids to see that we can do something that will help the environment.
I get your support. Okay. There's a specific record here, I'm trying to consider, for the voter, which really regarding creating, technology. It's now, every city have now updated their coding guidelines to reflect that, so, we're just, piecing together the best we can based on the overall guidelines. I think Excel's done a wise job of choosing something that is physically similar, which I highlights because that's the best we can do right now. That being said, I think going forward, I would not be surprised if we find a much more clean way to understand this, especially because the city overall is going through a massive zoning code rewrite. Not sure how that's going to impact historic districts, but I'm positive that green technology will be included. So good news is, it's coming. Bad news is that we're way before that, but that's okay. It's okay. So from my side, I think what my concern will be is just maintaining the historic character and aesthetics of the neighborhood. I think we have a really strong advantage in the south side of the house. This is another house, very close to it. We really don't see much of it. I think it would be a big challenge if we had our other side of the house and we were sort of looking at the array of these, but I don't think you can see them very much. From the front, the back two blocks and the front block, I think I'd just be interested for the commissioner to think about, if everybody's comfortable with all four of those, if maybe having one fewer, that would just give a little more distance from the sidewalk, and I'd be interested to know from from you, is what is the capacity issue, and is there some kind of magic to the number that you've chosen, or are you just going to have to open it? Right. Right, right. So, yeah, it does. And so one thing we do, homeowners, we do reduce it by panel, the cost would change, and then the math on it. So that does become an opportunity cost for sale. You just yep. First one was removed with that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, sure, right. And that's the sense I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's the sense I'm getting from Google now. It's pretty hard to see up there.
The, the detail that the maximum extension is off the roof. I'm curious if there's like, if it's big because it's maximum, and there is already that 3 foot setback from the front, so, with how tall and how kind of close up that your front facade is to that sidewalk, I would kind of agree that, there'd be very minimal view to that initial solar panel that is already set back. But yeah, as far as the 6 inches maximum, does that mean it can get lower or? Okay. Oh, it probably depends on the roof. Okay.
Um, kind of gives you an idea. I didn't know if you it is a replace one now. $10,000 each time.
Because it's stuck with that. You really preserve some of the old, I think it's done, it's probably the root surface. So.
Yeah, so I like the box cutters are there. Those are gonna block that 6 inches. There's no way you're gonna see it. So in this instance, because of where those gutters are, I think that the application is fine as is. Typically, we would need to probably move some of these panels to the back of the house. I could also see if the commission was more comfortable moving the panels to the south side of the building because it's on the alley. I think it's okay, it's not right up against your neighbor, but truly, with those box gutters, it's already blocked from street view, so I think that the application is fine as it is. One sec, where is it? This is bad for talking about, right? Okay.
Who else, thought?
Yeah, I'll.
Yep, you got anything?
We understand this is something of possible and, other projects that come by and but things that they still already put in this not an issue because of those things. And so, I don't have.
Yeah. Nice, it's all better than your. Okay, all great, you have a second? All in favor? Aye, opposed? And abstained. Okay, thanks a lot, thanks for coming in, good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Dr. Miller.
Um,
Oh,
Number 7886 North High Street.
Get that in, Raise your hand, statement. Going to be passed over to your testimony, the testimony, what did you do? Was not very well, absolutely said, but I did it. Okay, so, we'll start with staff and then I'll go over to you.
Okay, this application is proposing a 100 square foot vestibule addition to the 886 North High Street building to reduce the existing setback from the sidewalk. The vestibule would match the existing entrance in height and materials, and the applicant would be reusing and relocating the existing signage. So at the January 25th business meeting, while noting the building setback was approved as part of the design to create the appearance of multiple buildings, the commissioners present stated they understood the area may have safety concerns with the setback, acting as a shelter for homeless people. The commission noted they appreciated the reuse of the existing signage and asked if the signage could be further recessed so that it does not project beyond the brick and remains recessed with the entrance. And this is a modern building. It is an historic district, but the building itself is not historic. So staff recommends approval of application IV 22-02-007 886 North High Street with any clarifications to be submitted to staff prior to issuance of the certificate. And that recommendation is based on that the work is generally consistent with the standards for alteration.
In this project, someone like so they want to push it out, but we're also creating sort of a vestibule for the 30-year-old building as well. So simply pushing it out, still keeping it set back, showing, the right of ways, the doorways going in the right of way and all of that. Extending the same architectural language. So very simple, just wanted to reuse the signage. I did talk with him about the signage. And I actually, we talked about today potentially hanging it from the canopy back that's in front of the glass so that it's not on the front and it won't be proud of the two adjacent masonry here. So we would be acceptable, offering this up and reusing the sign. So I know I probably should have done this, but it's either two steps.
I think, if you go to that section, if the overhang is like it's shown, the signage could say how it is, that could be fine too. But I would be fine with, I think that would be appropriate if you kept it as is and just that overhang allowed enough room for the sign. I think it's appropriate. So that's all.
Okay, who's doing it?
22-02-007. I guess it is,
Option.
yeah. Given that they can either adjust the overhang back so that the signage does not protrude from the existing brick facade, or utilize a hanging signage in front of the new glazing.
Final details submitted to staff.
Yes. Okay.
That's like a 14 minutes. Okay. Very good. What's our total? Okay. What's that?
Yeah.
All right, now.
It was easy.
There you go.
This is number 8.
Yes, this is number 8244. Okay. Okay, I can, want to swear in the applicant first?
Tell the truth to the best of your ability.
Yes.
So this application is, oh, wrong page, proposing demolition of the two-story building at East Fourth Avenue due to a fire. An unsafe building order, engineering letter, and photos have been submitted for the application. At the January 25th business meeting, the commissioners present noted that normally documentation of the building and plans for new construction are typically required for proposed demolition of contributing properties, but understood the unusual circumstance of the fire. The commission noted they would prefer to see approval of demolition be conditioned on the structure being rebuilt in the same design and style to replace the fire damaged historic home. Staff recommends approval of application IV 220208-244 East Fourth Avenue with any clarifications to be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. That recommendation is based on the standards for demolitions. And yep, that's it, standards demolition. Yes.
And
That, I mean, as soon as the applicant be comfortable with, continuing to, Oh. Make that motion.
I just want to clarify before we move. So this is on that property that I think it was in November that was split, and there's another property to the rear, the shotgun, that just this demolition pertains only to the two-story house or photos that we see.
implementing. Um, And that was the first time I had. And that's the first time I had to do that.
Uh,
That's true. Let's skip it, I'm just looking back just to make. Start 4:30 on the agenda, because we'll probably have to just hang for a couple to see if there was a couple of them. Everybody else. Seems to be okay. You're every, so then we could do that again, so we'll just turn it over to staff, and this is conceptual, correct?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, for this application, which is Cornelia Street, part of Jeffrey Park, it is conceptual. The proposal is a new park at Jeffrey Park, located at the corner of Cornelia Street and North Sixth Street for the submitted documentation. The final application is to be submitted for action review following the finalization of details from this application. So the general location and size of the park have been reviewed in previous applications, including for application ID 1911-008, which approved a lot split separating the lot for a park from approved buildings, with the park noted to be 1.691 acres. At the January business meeting, the commission noted that they were supportive of the oval park shape. The commission asked about the bus shelter, or whether the shelter is to be part of the transportation shelter, food truck shelter, or general seating area, just clarification basically on what that is. The commission noted they will want to converse with the applicant about lighting at the meeting to ensure that there will be adequate lighting, and noted the lighting posts and asked if all locations of the post lighting are shown or if there are additional lighting that is to be elsewhere. And additionally, the commission posed the question if ground lighting could or should be incorporated along the walkway. So this is conceptual, so the recommendation is that commissioners should offer design feedback that could be utilized by the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future meeting. And when ready to submit for action review, elevation drawings for existing and proposed work and larger photos could be included as part of the submission. No action is required, and the basis for the staff recommendation are the standards for site improvements.
So that's before we go again.
That kind of done. And some of them are lots of needs and they have a consistent theme of just green space in general. Really additive to the neighborhood. But I think from details of it, pushing from a jump into the feature a little bit. What I was saying, the biggest amount that neighbors can get here, local green space, so that's why we will shape the create sort of inner walking loop that provide some landscape on the outside and make it open in the middle. It was something that we to work. So we look at the needs and we were really using the all push to the form. And the some of the history, so, and off of the existing buildings that are there. That was something that is very conceptual. Yeah, and it becomes the kind of presenting, but it's with the neighborhood, um, and with a solid structure that would probably also incorporate some lighting in there. And try to just kind of keep it open, so if they end up having any sort of neighborhood get-togethers or festivals or anything, it's a good spot that they can set up tables or whatever they want to keep it flexible. And we can really, but it's also just a good spot to get out of the rain if you're letting your dog run around or something. That's kind of intentional. Industrial, taking out Park Mining, company that used to be there. Also, information from programs and information of the history of the site that could be included there. And the other thing that we talked about was if they ever want to food truck, there is a section where we across from this pavilion where we extended the pavement up to the street. Because that portion of the street could be closed down and maintain circulation along the rest of the neighborhood. So that allows for a nice place to have food trucks kind of pull up. You know. Most of it.
Connection, whether it was intended or not, through the Italian village part. Essentially, it was a really nice pickup or the reality of it. I had the chance to mention this to the Italian Village Society. Well, a lot of positive benefit and acceptance of that this oval now jumps over 4th Street and really does connect through not the same design, but a similar design. Nice job on that. The fact that you're also committed to 2 public art places, one up at the top, the oval or then you just entered speech, and knowing that the fifth floor, this could be a great chance to actually get a piece of art over there and figure it as soon as positive. Also, the society responds to positive to the food truck idea. So I hope you do follow that. But just to make sure I would like to see it happen. All good stuff. No, sorry, one thing that then we don't want to encourage homeless living, and let's take it from the other Italian village part where individual units it also doesn't make it easy to sleep on the benches. So that should get the term you're going on. I think maybe take that out. I think follow. Yeah.
I think the intention was eliminated piece. Pardon me? I figured would ultimately graphics are going on here, and if that's the best way to kind of show that, that's kind of, from a conception, a good idea. Well, and that, there will be additional continue down once that gets finished. That plus the internal illumination. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll finish just echo what they said, but, one additional thing is, I'm curious if maybe taking a look at that, the panel, like the sign. That could kind of be wrapped up within the shelter and, maybe make that a part of the shelter to help, I don't know, give a little bit more purpose to the shelter and I have that like one stop at that moment. And instead of just full signage, maybe it's a part of the architecture. Or something like that.
This is
And so, unintended.
Fortunately, when it was executed years ago, vegetarian, and other reasons I went into it now, I didn't turn out well. That is being, redone. pretty now. So we got kind of cool opportunity, maybe even, I don't know who today on that project, if it was selected yet, but. It's the end of the collections. We don't have to- that's some of it. I love that little, that small detail there, that the first, not even stuff so much. Like the entryway into that more relaxed open space, I think that's a very nice touch. A little bit of an elegant tie into that industrial nature of the site. I definitely, as best as I have this kind of pointed out, if it's something you want to do as well, but we'll be eager to advocate for whatever you can do to make those least visible as possible. I am fortunate that I have time on the park, but luckily, I think the way you engage the corner, if you pick the right sort of functions working on it to always dissolve into that. And so, and then, I know that they're existing. And I don't know if that's random is required, but I certainly have seen those in other park-like settings, and they, or green or other colors. I think all over the into that. Whatever you can do to help with that. I noticed that the water building in that corner has a little, like, flash or color, maybe dark blue or something. What were you considering for that? Sounds good. And then the thing is, the temple stage and the residents like this is that were cool, but it looked like there was some pretty legal trees that could develop over time. It looks like some London pines and oaks and things like that in the renderings. So I definitely I would encourage you to think through that story that you're going to explain to us about what happens inside the label. It seems like you've been pretty cautious and thoughtful about the way that we selected just a certain number of spots. And my vision is certainly that, like, hopefully, at least the mainstream of Pine Grove Park and maybe the next round of planting, we get these individual specimen trees that are out there in that open space that become kind of part of the way that space feels. Not too cluttered. I like that there's just a few, and you can kind of concentrate everything up. But I mean, it really is on this of what the intent of it is. But anyway, so with that, stop making references to failures and decades ago. Okay. Yeah, anything else that you are interested in knowing from us? Yeah.
I will say the one thing, our typical approach is to just use landscape. I feel like anytime you try to wrap them, like put a fence or something, it ends up calling more attention to them. So, approach will be just a heavily landscape with a continuous palette so that it just kind of blends in. So that's really good.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much. Thank you. So, the other ones we put on the top. Maybe one back. Really good.
Oh, yes.
But we have two thumbs up.
Yeah, we have small things of new business, old business that we've kind of brought up in other meetings, but for our applications, I think we're all set right now.
You ready for me to stick around?
Yeah.
I am very. Like how did that happen? That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just.
Given the time, it doesn't seem like any applicants are coming for the other ones. Okay.
Why did it? That's what they're in for you. Like they have no shit, we don't get to do anything.
If you were at, I want to say the last business meeting, we had some little bit of discussion and we also had a representative for the Summit Street bump out that was there to answer some questions that were brought up. Generally, they're proposing that 2 pairs of bump outs on the street, which are near the priority quarter for Wyland Park, are going to be installed. That both locations would include crosswalks and additional signage, including overhead signage. And the intersection of Summit Street and 3rd Avenue would include rectangular rapid flash beacons, also known as RRFBs, and that all work would occur within the existing right-of-way. And if there's any questions that come up through now, I can also touch base with the representative for this and see if we can get those answers as well.
Has been demolished. The total right here. Only lived there for 7 years. So I think that this is a safety priority for society. They had they're very, yeah, so like this is a big deal, very happy.
The one thing I will say. We'll get into it in just a second. We're just covering one other thing.
Oh, no, this is the representative for the Summit Street bumper.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, we have limited audio. You know what, we could just do it just so we don't have to think about it.
Okay, so, speak over to the left. When you go right home and Tom's telling the test, the truth in your testimony, the best you ability is. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, well, the one thing I was gonna say on you, but maybe this will hear from you first. We have to come and kind of talk through, but yeah, if you wanna post your thoughts, then you can jump in. Yeah. Definitely gives you a sense of it's in this book. What the looking at the order of talking on this, on your side of some. And the other side. Well, I was many times a week, and I use a treat that a lot of us in the neighborhood use, and they're pull right around the corner into that spot that's gonna be a bump out, so I can see what's going on, because it's very hard to see around there, and then I'll put by accidents. Probably with people falling around. So as much as it was when somebody who really one out, you know, you park up in front of that.
I don't park in front of my house.
Yeah, because this time, I might be able to. It's just, I would definitely think it'd be worth just observing the visibility and potentially doing that sign on. Sure. You definitely feel those. Okay. Well, not you just done it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that is true, like, at least to stay in front of 10, 15 minutes. Because no one parks there anyways, because everyone knows that if you park your car there, it's gonna get totaled. So,
Another question I had is what the process is it through the society, different, requests, or is it just for safety compliance, or just take off the school as far as other locations in the neighborhood, and more specifically, one is that, the Detroit and forth with the huge amount of increase in pedestrian traffic, it's a lot of thousands over there forever, which never was just going to couple up there. But now with the barriers, it's good deal, so. Right. I don't know if that makes it easier or not, because then we are really about installing a crosswalk and a beacon instead of. The floor. Right, right, right.
what's the timeline on?
But we were told once in the society meeting that the reason that has to go on forward is that the supply of those flashing lights literally. If one, if they're not available,
Yeah.
but it's still caught up in that. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's really.
That's all. There is something.
Yeah, there's the building and zoning meeting, so that might have been. hopefully people will notice the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
If we could just look at the picture and have it, probably it's just looking at it.
Oh, yes, so backing up to number 2 on the agenda, 1086, 1088 North High.
Do we know what we need to something right now? Building? The window. Yeah.
You see it's pretty- There was a picture from the street level that is showing that you going from. And frustrating. Take a look at it, you can see that clearly.
It is 1086 North High Street. Yeah, it might be easy if we, like exit out of the street view and then drop in, or maybe you can come this way. But there's an alley behind there, that has a better view of the roof.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, I think we're getting it right there. With the, yeah, yeah. If it lets me.
Oh, that is the right direction. That's first floor. Okay.
Yeah, get the direction. Oh, yeah, one more, I think. There we go. Okay. Kind of see some of the existing units if you go further enough out on Street View. It gives you an idea of what the visibility might be for the proposed.
It's been broken. Yeah. It's like, it's a pitch perfect. I just go to the main post office.
Yeah.
Does this see the parking lot?
I just.
Literally most of the time there is a handwritten note on the door that says it's not going to be open today. So they're basically, Columbia Gas is going to be tearing up the whole intersection this summer.
Now, we do have some conceptual applications. I don't know if the commission wants to provide any feedback since we, and we did have a business meeting for this, did we? Yes. So up to you. Nine,
Oh,
yeah, so you have number 9 in the agenda, 821 Summit Street. Number 10 is 933 Hamlet Street, and those are the two that we have that are conceptual, that we haven't had applicants attend today. The 18, having the large scale photos of like neighbors that they can are With the construction of the new single-story garage, and there was some feedback already provided at the business meeting, in which the commission noted that prior to action review, the application will need to include, engineering and architectural scale to measure drawings, and that those drawings should show the location of gutters and downspouts. Asking what the material of the garage apron will be, noting that pavers are preferred, requesting cut sheets for the man door, asking what the heights of the neighboring garages are, so that the proposed garage height could be evaluated in that context. And just noting that one of the site plans appears to show the garage very close to the property line. And so the request for clarification for that was because of, fire code prohibiting windows and on elevations too close to the property line. So those kind of clarification questions have been sent to the applicant from that business meeting feedback. Okay. Well, they do have feedback from the business meetings. Yeah, so, yeah.
There's a single door. Money for the windows on the,
Oh,
yeah, like why all the dormers if you're just, yeah, I was
Yeah.
confused by that. Okay. The one other conceptual comes right after that, and it is 933 Hamlet Street. Yes. So they are, Replacing a window with a door.
yeah, they're remodeling to include the egress door, and then basically, taking out a window and then installing the door there. They're also adding a concrete walkway from that egress to meet up to an existing concrete courtyard area. The only note that I have from the January business meeting was that the commission noted that there's a bike rack currently present. And then the question was just if that bike rack could be included after the completion of the hardscape. This is a modern, building that they are doing the alteration to, so I don't think there are additional questions, at least from the business meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's conceptual. Now I can say that they've already submitted for action for the March agenda, so they will be here very soon. Yeah, so today would have been the March business meeting, but we sort of sacrificed it in order to be able to have a February meeting today.
We can't put it here.
We can't have it here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I knew, could maybe if we can, move.
Okay.
2202.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll put it on and I'll just double check that that's like follows, Robert's rules and we can do all that. And if so, we'll move forward. If not, we'll see them at the March meeting.
Oh.
933.
There's a Harry Potter book.
You can start reading during the day.
All right, so we'll end the meeting.